seed oils are one of the most controversial topics in health at the moment, and it seems like no one actually provides a balanced view for some reason. Like, you got the American Heart Association saying it's odd that the internet is going wild demonizing these things, they're not to be feared. And then you got this clinic saying seed oils have a lot of omega-6s, which can be inflammatory. They're also ultra-processed, which is also inflammatory. And then you got this study saying participants were given 1 teaspoon of canola oil one time. 76% of the participants died. Don't ask me for the link for that one, I lost it. But yeah, no one here is painting the whole picture with seed oils. It seems like everyone just wants to pick a side and make the audience respond emotionally. I guess the balanced story never made anyone emotional, but you know, I guess that's why I'm here, right? My name's Shay, I'm a nutritionist and an international level athlete, and yeah, today we're covering seed oils. I'll provide a balanced view, walk you through the science every step of the way so that you can make an informed choice. So let's get into it. We'll start with the minor concern. There's a major one coming up, but the first one will provide a bit of background knowledge first, okay? So this has to do with omega-3 and omega-6. Like, oh, what are those, the new men's watches? No, they're fats we get from our diet, and we can't make them ourselves, so we need to get them from foods. You may have seen on food packaging like saturated, unsaturated fats. These are polyunsaturated fats, meaning they have multiple double bonds. This will be relevant later, but anyway, omega-3 is anti-inflammatory, which is fantastic. Disease burden and cognition are two of the main benefits in my eyes for managing inflammation. It's, you know, one of the biggest markers for health in general. So flax seeds, chia seeds, oily fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines are some of the best sources for omega-3. Conversely, omega-6s, they can be pro-inflammatory actually, but we still need them for like cell and nerve function, and additionally they're actually really easy to get nowadays, which is kind of the issue. So most seed oils like canola oil are going to be pretty stacked with omega-6, and when you have too much omega-6 in your diet compared to omega-3, this can cause further inflammation. Usually omega-3 will keep this in check, but if it's massively outnumbered, there's only so much you can do. It's like when they took wolves out of Yellowstone and the elk and the coyote population just went. You're always going to end up with more omega-6. A good ratio is like 4:1, but some people are pushing like 20:1 nowadays, which is less than ideal. And as I mentioned before, they're really easy to get nowadays. A lot of processed food use them in the processing for the food. Most fast food joints will use sunflower or canola oil or both to deep fry most of their foods. But omega-6 is only the small issue here, so let's continue. If you are enjoying, please consider dropping a like and a subscription. It's free and it really helps me out. But anyway, onwards. So I just mentioned deep frying. So what really happens when you heat up these seed oils? Look away, man, you don't want to see this. So remember the double bonds I told you about. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but they're not going to make it. Yeah, these bonds are really unstable, and when you heat anything up, it becomes more chemically volatile. These unstable molecules will want to end up looking more like this, which is coincidentally what saturated fat is, no double bonds. Anyway, when you heat these up, all hell breaks loose, and you end up with all these free radicals which are pro-inflammatory. They can, you know, do a bit of damage. I mean, you can't avoid them entirely, but you know, less is definitely better. These double bonds get targeted, they can lose hydrogen, making it more reactive, and then get oxidized, and then leaving the oxygen to be more reactive. It's a mess. So you just end up with all these free radicals, and it's like a turbocharged carousel of kids at the carnival who ate too much at the hot dog stand and are starting to feel a little bit nauseous. It's quite the analogy. And deep fried foods are going to be stacked with these free radicals, but that's only part of the problem, because in regular processed foods, depending on what the food is, if they're using seed oils, it could be heated up during the processing, and even though it's had time to, you know, be cooled down, packaged, stored, and, you know, maybe sitting on the shelf, there's still going to be some in here. Of course, there might be less because they are reactive, but there's still something to think about. Coincidentally, no matter what the video topic is, everything just circles back to eating more whole foods, but anyway. So I promised I'd be balanced, so point 3 is why we can have seed oils, okay? Yeah, so despite all of this, they can actually be part of a healthy diet. The biggest issue is that high temperature, but if you're just adding it cold, like after you've cooked the meal, you're completely avoiding this. That being said, they're still highly processed, so there is still going to be some free radicals in there, but, you know, damage control, right? And the other issue is having too much omega-6 to omega-3, but if you pick, say, flaxseed oil, this has a lot of omega-3, so you're not running into this issue either. So, you know, some people might top off a salad with some flaxseed oil. In my eyes, I think that's completely fine. Additionally, like flaxseed oil and some other oils do have vitamin E, which is an antioxidant, which will protect against the free radicals, which is, you know, again, solving the issue. Ideally, something that's cold pressed is going to maintain more of that vitamin E, so even stronger anti-inflammatory, so that's a pretty good choice. Alternatively, you could just avoid seed oils entirely. and get your omega-3 elsewhere. I think omega-3 is kind of king nowadays with how prevalent omega-6 is, because we need that balance, right? So fish oils are, I think, more relevant than ever. Chia seeds or flax seeds are pretty good to add into most meals. If you have the disposable income, maybe rip into the salmon, but yeah. So let's bring it all together. So free radicals cause inflammation, bad for cognition and overall health, particularly if these seed oils are heated up to high temperatures, like deep frying. Worst thing you can do. Some of these are really high in omega-6, which if you don't have enough omega-3 to keep it in check, this is going to cause more inflammation. But if you are getting enough omega-3 or just using an omega-3 based oil like flaxseed oil, it also has omega-6. But anyway, if you're not heating that up and just topping up maybe a salad with it, absolutely fine. Alternatively, you could just avoid them entirely and go for olive oil or avocado or coconut oil. In my eyes, the king of oils is still going to be extra virgin olive oil that's cold pressed and in a darker bottle. It's got more vitamin E that is protected from being lost in the processing, and you know, none of these free radicals to worry about. So if you did enjoy this video and if you did learn something, again, please consider subscribing. It does help me out a lot. If you enjoyed this, you might enjoy this carb tier list video or this video where I go diving for food and cover some weird topics about the nutrition of seafood. So there's those two there. But anyway, I'll see you next time.